khona kule game yangithola abanye bayaphuma abanye bayangena ubuka labo uzohlala khona ngoba istyle sami nabo guluba siyabajoba lokhu ngithulile ngibekile ngiphumile ngifuna ukubona bazikhanda kanjani manje sengikhulile ngihambile ngibonile akekho umuntu ophethe uthando lomculo njengami ngoba mina ngiyasithandela into yami mina ngiyayifela futhi akekho umuntu ozongitshela izitha zami ngiyazithandazela so kadala umuntu afisa ukuthi
Alright, that's Bugalav Narega Roshugumisa Gangane. It's Monday morning after the weekend, of course, but we're talking some serious issues here because in the past year, we've seen many South African artists losing their lives under different circumstances, and in most cases, it's been reported that after being established in their respective industries, they sort of struggled to make a living. This is not just the case in the entertainment industry, but also among sports people, and it is evidently so. If you were to look at the case of Borris Becker, a Wimbledon tennis champion who once boasted about over 100 million euros, and then he was declared insolvent last month due to poor financial planning. We take this discussion of poor financial planning, of course, and poor decisions in terms of finances. And I'm joined in our studios in Johannesburg by Kabelo Mabalane, a South African entertainer who once lost almost everything, but then managed to regain everything after making sound choices. Bugalov, good morning to you. Don't you love the sound of it? Yeah, someone who once lost everything, but then regained everything.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah. You know, we like good stories, I guess. You know, but I mean the fight is not over yet. You know, this life still has to be lived. You know, one still has to continue making good choices. Yeah. Because I mean, even talking about poor financial choices, I think I've only just literally come out of paying the price for the bad financial choices that I made in the last maybe 3 years. Yeah,
but what are talk to us about the mistakes that, can I use this word, that celebrities make in terms of their financial planning?
I think it's not a celebrity issue, I mean, and it's not a celebrity issue or a sport issue. I think it's generally just human nature.
Yeah, but I can't in the limelight. Okay. So we get to learn more about your lives. Sure. Yeah, I
think the mistakes, and I can only speak for myself. I think the mistake that I made was not investing, my money in enough assets that appreciate. And another mistake that I did make was not being teachable regarding money. You can be an entertainer and be really good at that, but it doesn't necessarily make you an expert in finances. So the wisest thing to do, the prudent thing to do, is to surround yourself with people who are experienced when it comes to finances, which is something that I've done later on in my life, and it has served me well.
Yeah. But do you think some sort of pressure, Nyana, if you are, of course, in the limelight, you are expected to maintain a certain lifestyle? As your fans would want to see Magesha appear certain brands, driving certain brands, of course. Pressure, Nyana, from fans?
No, I think it's the reason I've also managed, thank God, to turn my life around was, when you're still battling with certain insecurity issues, you're bound to make poor decisions across the board, And my saving grace was I was able to face my demons head on, and it then allows you to make sober decisions. But when you haven't settled your insecurities, it can manifest in buying stuff you don't need, with money you don't have, to impress people who actually don't care, So to answer your question, I think it's got a lot to do with where you act as a person to make you feel as if you need to buy, clothes and cars and stuff you don't need.
Yeah. And I know that you've worked with many international stars and you were exposed, of course, to their way of living. What is different from our way of living in South Africa and how they do it internationally?
I always think, our international counterparts have the luxury of, earning in foreign currency, and are exposed to a wider audience from a numbers perspective, you know, and to try, you know, emulate, you know, what they're doing with the kind of numbers that we're exposed to and the currency that we're earning is not realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't even be comparing you guys.
No, you can't. You can't. I mean, you know, the kind of numbers we reach out to compared to them. And then the currency issue, you know, but even themselves. I mean, you've just mentioned Borris Becker, who at a point in his life was worth 100 million pounds. You know, whether it's pounds or rands, if you're not going to make sound financial choices, it'll fail.
And it's just like you said. But what do you think the problem is? Is there not enough financial information at our disposal, or the information is there, it's just that we are just being ignorant and enjoying life?
I think it's both. Yeah. It's both. Because I know, you know, there are people who... There's one person who tried to speak to me. I don't even know if he remembers. And if he's listening, he's going to get the shock of his life. Yeah. You know, Don Laka did try to speak to me. Yeah. I remember Braton, I just bought a new fancy BMW. And he said to me, you know, you need to spend your money and put it in a... you know, spend it on assets that appreciate, you know. So to answer your question, it is that there isn't enough financial information that is readily available, but it's also, I believe in my case, not listening when spoken to and given advice. And it's something that I've changed, you know, investing my money in assets that appreciate, getting financial advice. Another important thing I always say is, you know, you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of your brand, because then it just gives you opportunities to be able to grow and to exploit your brand on different platforms to create other revenue streams and not just be a musician.
But in terms of the friends that one keep, there's a say, okay, show me your friends and then I'll show you your future. Baba influential hakakang in decisions.
Yeah, very true. I mean, you've just answered the question. You know, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You know, there's a saying that's also prevalent now. They say your network is your net worth. You know, show me the people that you're hanging around, and I'll show you how much money you're going to be making in the next 5 years. You know, and it's very true. You know, the company that I kept, you know, it wasn't you know, conducive to me making the right decisions.
And when these are like friends are few, when things start getting wrong for you and you are just left on your own. But what advice can you give to young people? We've seen a whole lot of young people you know, entering the industry, be it music, sports wise, but the limelight in general. What advice do you have to them?
Just be teachable. I think, you know, that quality of just being teachable is something that we should never lose. You know, you get into a space, you start making a lot of money. Be teachable, open to people speaking to your life about helping you to make sound decisions. You know, and I think in a nutshell, that's what that will be your saving grace. If you're new in the industry, you've got lots of money and you don't know what to do with it.
And there are no guarantees in these industries, right? Yeah, it's not sustainable at times.
Yeah, I guess that's a mistake you make, that you think it's going to perpetuate itself and keep on happening over and over again. You know, trends change, you know, people come and go, and you have to prepare for such.
That's how it is. So, Wenanje, what are you up to now? How are you continuing to make those sound financial decisions?
Yeah, I'm actually, my wife has really played a really important part. So getting married has really, you know, helped, you know, keep me grounded.
So when you can attest to the say, behind every successful man, there's a woman behind.
100%. Yeah, women just have a knack of just helping you, you know, make sound decisions. I'm busy recording 2 television shows, which are actually going to be airing on SABC. One is called Kick It, and one is called Play Your Part. Kick It deals with the scourge of the drugs in our society, and we're just going to highlight that in the show. And then Play Your Part, just basically I'm going around the country just highlighting ordinary South Africans doing extraordinary things, you know, playing their part in our communities, and I think it's important to highlight such. And I guess through my running, still enjoying my running, and through that, you know, I'm getting involved in sports retail.
All right, you know what? Let me just pause a little bit. We're taking an ad break. As soon as we come back, we'll be dwelling more into what you're up to now and talk a little bit about Kwaito.
Sure.
Let's take a break. Kabelo will be with us immediately after this.